Hey guys, Martin here again. Episode 29 of We're Still Here. We're almost at the episode 30, which is I'm excited about it because that's 30 videos of me being able to talk about this and not being a recluse and hiding my feelings, which is part of the reason why I started doing these videos. Obviously, the main reason was just to talk about depression and get things off my chest, and also hopefully help you guys a little bit. But it's also nice to know that there's been almost 30 times now where I've actually forced myself, or sometimes not had to force myself, just to talk to you and to talk openly, which isn't. Jessie talked about it last week, and I should thank Jessie Nowak, Nowacking, as she's known on the internet. Thank her again for providing that, because honestly, that was it was helpful for a lot of people, including me. But like she said, it's not good that we hide these feelings away, and honestly, a lot of the time, that's what causes them to get as strong as they do. Who knows, maybe if I'd recognized my depression earlier, or if I'd done something differently or approached something differently earlier on, then who knows? I'm not saying I wouldn't be depressed or that I would be happier, but if I talked more openly about it, it might have been easier to deal with. So yeah, I guess right off the bat, I'll say, let's talk more about stuff that we're dealing with. Jessie was brave enough to, and a lot of other people have come into contact with me and wanted to talk about, depression and anxiety and the bad stuff that they're going through, and it's all part of one big fight that we're waging. Let's sit down and talk about that sort of thing, because if we don't, then we're the only ones dealing with it, and it's not easy to do it alone. In fact, it's almost impossible. So let's not do that. As for what's going on in my life right now, I just had my Remicade infusion, which, if you're relatively new to these videos, and also even if you're not, because I don't really talk about specifics that much, but Remicade is the medicine they give me. It's a they don't like to use it if possible, because I guess, I don't know, it's like it's one of the more intense medications they use, or maybe it's just more expensive. I don't know, but they're every 8 weeks now. It used to be every 4 weeks. They take me into the hospital and they have me sit there for 4 or 5 hours, and they inject me with Benadryl, and then they give me Remicade, which is to tackle my ulcerative colitis, which is always fun to hear about, I'm sure. It's funny, I'm like, let's talk more about things. I don't want to talk about my condition. But yeah, Remicade is what they give me on a semi-regular basis, and it does help. It's been helping a lot. I'm actually back onto my normal diet, as normal as that is. And they're saying I'm improving colitis-wise, so that's a huge positive for me. I can eat sushi again. Like, as soon as I found out that I was able to eat my normal food, I just rushed out and went and had a load of amazing sushi at this place called Sugarfish, which is highly recommended if you are in the California area. It's very good. We once sat next to McLovin there, which was exciting. He had a beard. It was sexy. It was weird. But yeah, the Remicade tends to knock me on my ass a little bit when it's initially made its way through my system. So I tend to get a bit more weak and exhausted, and doing the stuff that I usually do is a lot harder. And one of the things that I do often is do voices, and it kind of kicks my ass in that regard as well. It's like my voice gets froggy, and I can't really do deep voices without like sounding like I'm choking. It sounds like it just sounds like I've got a lot of phlegm in my throat, which is probably the case, and I'm not sure why Remicade does that, but it makes it a lot more difficult to do voice work, which isn't fun for me. But it's not something that lasts too long, so within a week I'm usually back to normal. But yeah, if I seem a bit dopey today, and I don't think I am that dopey right now, but if I do seem dopey in this video, that's why. I tried filming a We're Still Here while I was being injected with Remicade, and it didn't go as well as I'd hoped. I tried talking about medication, but I was on medication at the time, so it was a very confused series of grunts and mumbling. So that I might use that, I might not. I probably won't. But in the meantime, here's something that makes me happy for this week. Some of you noticed on one of the previous We're Still Here's, and you may notice right now, that I've been logging on to Star Wars The Old Republic fairly often in my spare time for the last 2 or 3 weeks. One of the reasons is because I'm excited about the new film, the new Star Wars film. You may have heard of it, but I'm also just big into online role-playing games, mostly for the social aspects. A lot of people don't play MMOs for just sort of hanging out and playing characters. I know I'm probably wrong about that. There are probably a lot more people who do it specifically for that, but I don't meet a lot of those people. I meet a lot of people who are in it for just collecting gear and grinding and being better than everybody else. Which, if you want to play a game for that reason, that's great. No, absolutely. That's why half of us play games, is to be good and win. But I don't really think of MMOs as a game you can strictly win. I think it's just an ongoing thing, and the finish line is here, and you're here, and you get this close to the finish line, and then the developers extend it over here, and then you keep, and then but so that's why I don't play MMOs for that reason. I play them just to have a good time and to inhabit the role of a character. And I'm sure role-playing has, its stigmas in the online community. I was actually playing the Old Republic the other day, and I saw people being like, "Oh, the role-playing community is a bunch of divas who just want, all the attention." And I'm sure, there are people like that. I'm not one of those people. I just want to just have my little story and role play little goofy scenes, stuff that's harmless and isn't full of drama. I'm so sick of drama in every community I partake in. But I used to play Star Wars Galaxies, and I role played in that. I played some World of Warcraft, and I role played in that briefly. I wasn't very good because the lore is just so overwhelming. At least I'm familiar with Star Wars, But I love online role-playing in general. I used to post on LiveJournal as different characters. I would create accounts. One of my favorite characters to role-play as was Master Shake from Aqua Teen Hunger Force. I guess because it's easy to be an asshole, and I just always thought of myself as a funny asshole in character. But yeah, I role-played as Shake, and I've role-played as various different characters. I've role-played as Marek and Bakura, and I guess that's technically what I'm doing when I'm playing them in Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged. It's still role-playing, though. It's still daft and fun and silly and means ultimately nothing. But it makes me happy, and I really enjoy stepping out of this, I don't want to say body, but stepping out of this, part of my life and stepping into a different one, which is what people do whenever they, partake in hobbies that they enjoy. Role-playing is just a much more specific way of doing that, I guess. You're putting yourself in a completely different situation as a completely different person, which, for somebody who's going through shit like we are, can be very helpful and relieving. Obviously in moderation. If you spend too much time in Fantasyland, which I used to do all the time, and I probably still do too much from time to time, your real life suffers. But I really enjoy playing characters and seeing where things go and not having a set script to follow and just sort of bouncing off other people. One of the funnest things to do for me is both role play with a person who is really into their character and really into the story and has these great ideas and has really in-depth dialogue and descriptions, but it's also fun to role play with somebody who's just sort of casually doing it, who's just, one line may be the best response you can get, but try and work with that. It's a challenge, and if they're having fun, that's the important thing. You can have fun with that. But I had this one experience role playing on the Old Republic recently. Which, that's my main MMO right now. I've jumped from one to the other. I used to play EverQuest, I used to play Star Wars Galaxies, but right now Old Republic is where I'm at. And I was on, if you've never played the Old Republic, it's set thousands of years before Star Wars, but it's essentially, thematically the same. It's about the Empire versus the Republic, and In this case, it's the Sith Empire versus the Old Republic. And I was on the Republic fleet, and my character was just sort of chilling out at a bar in the cantina on the fleet, as you do, drinking. And in my head, my character has this very intense backstory about their dad who betrayed their family and all kinds of nonsense that you don't need to know, but or want to know. But I was sitting in the bar, and I didn't want to just start talking about all this nonsense that my character was going through. I just wanted to roleplay a completely frivolous scene, that existed on its own. It was a standalone thing. And I was just drinking, and then a bunch of people just started joining, the conversation that I was having with a friend of mine in game, where I was just getting drunk, in the game. Not literally, I was just role playing that I was, and people started being like, "Why do you drink to deal with all these problems that you have?" And I hadn't even mentioned what I was going through in game. And they were like, why do you drink to deal with this? And the guy I'm talking to is like a Republic commander or whatever. He's like a trooper. And I turn and I'm like, well, you kill people to deal with your problems, so what do you know? That's way worse than what I'm doing. And but it became this long, free-flowing conversation between 4 or 5 different people who've never met in real life, but didn't know each other, but were interested in being part of this spark of conversation or entertainment or whatever it was they were seeking. And eventually, everybody else dissipates and leaves the bar and goes off to go on questing or role-playing somewhere else, who knows. But this one guy hung behind, and he specifically started talking to me about, PTSD and, trauma and, in some respects depression, but he was talking about how, alcohol was a temporary fix, and how I had to acknowledge my problems in order to really confront them and actualize them and ultimately heal. And he said a lot of things. I really wish I had the chat log or something, because it was remarkable. He was really trying to not, tell me off, but he was trying to help. He was trying to help my character to heal after everything I'd been through, even though he had no idea what it was, in character and out of character. And he was telling me, there's no difference between a psychological wound and a physical wound. And he was just saying, he was putting it into terms that made it seem really, for me as the player writing my character, I was like, oh my god, this is exactly what I need to hear, and I'm sure it would be helpful for other people, because it's true, ultimately, depression or PTSD, it may as well be a physical wound, but at the same time, physical wounds can heal, maybe not completely, and you'll never be 100% again, but you'll get better, and it will feel less. It'll always be there, but it won't constantly be there, if that makes sense. And he was saying these things to me, and I was practically crying, because I was like, my character would completely ignore you, but me as a person, I needed to hear this. And I was like, it was annoying to me, because my character was just like, okay, whatever, I'm gonna drink more. But behind the scenes, I was like, please keep talking to me. And so I messaged him afterwards, after we'd finished talking, and I told him, out of character, thanks for that, by the way. I'm going through some serious stuff in real life, and I definitely needed to hear that, and you sound like you know what you're talking about. And they replied, and they were like, oh no, trust me, yeah, I've been there. And we just talked out of character for a little bit, and I just wanted them to know, that people need to hear that stuff. Even fictional characters who are going through this need to hear this stuff. And we may not listen the first time, and we may not listen the 10th time or the 50th time, but by the 100th time, hopefully, it'll get through. And what matters is that you don't give up on somebody. Even somebody who's in a galaxy far, far away, who, has a laser, so why should you be depressed if you have a laser gun? I wouldn't be. That's a lie. Depression obviously isn't affected by your ability to shoot lasers. It was important to me that happened. I got that out of something as silly as, playing a video game with a complete stranger. So that's kind of amazing to me. I don't know about you, because, I'm used to thinking, well, nobody else would care. And that guy specifically cared about somebody he'd spent 5 minutes talking to. So that gives me hope, and I hope it gives you a little bit of hope. That was really cool, I thought. Star Wars. I'm really excited about the new movie. That's also something that I'll probably talk about in the future. We're still here. Star Wars. I bloody love it. I love it. Like I said, I went to get my Remicade infusion, and I tried filming something there. And if I look at the whole thing and I think it was worth saving, I'm going to use that for this segment. So I might be recording this for no reason, but if it's unusable because I'm incoherent and nobody wants to hear me essentially high rambling to myself about nothing. I don't know about that, actually. Maybe people do want to hear that, but I'd rather talk coherently while not loopy on drugs and talk about drugs or medication specifically. A lot of people in my life, including me, have been very averse to the idea of relying on medication to deal with something like depression. I obviously, going back to the story I just told, it's very easy to look at a physical wound and think, well, I need medication, I need treatment. But if you look at yourself and you can't see, a wound in your mind, so it's harder to acknowledge it, and it's harder to be like, yeah, I should probably get help, or even, look for help. It's easy to look at yourself with a scratch on your finger and think, I need a Band-Aid. But if you have a scratch in your head, you're not going to want, the appropriate medication, because you kind of think, well, it's all in my head. But, it is still something that needs treating. I personally find that medication, once I was able to get the right stuff that I needed, once I was able to find the right dose that I needed, because I'm going back and forth on doses all the time, it feels like, but the stuff that it has been nailed down to a specific dose and is keeping me well, like my antidepressants, I've been on a pretty constant regime of those for the last year, and they've been remarkably helpful. I feel like a completely different person. And you might argue, well, that's because the medicine's making you that way. And I'd be like, well, it's helping me be the person I want to be. It's helping me be the person I am without the depression. And maybe the depression is still there, and maybe I'm just numb to it, but it's giving me the strength that I need to go out there and deal with the depression, because once I've acknowledged it, even if I don't feel it, I'm still trying to deal with it. Like I said, when I feel like I'm not depressed anymore, which isn't the case, I feel much better. But when I feel like I've gotten past that part of my life, I still want to do these videos. I still want to talk about this, and I still want to try and help anybody who might be listening, just because it's not something that goes away, and it's not something that's ever going to go away. Even if I feel 100% after everything I've been through, I know that there's a chance of it coming back, and I know that everybody around me might be dealing with it, and I don't want to just ignore that. Medication is scary. I won't deny that. There's something scary about having to take a pill or an injection or, any kind of oral medicine. It also kind of feels like you're taking a part of yourself away in some cases. Like, obviously, some medication has some pretty scary side effects. And unfortunately, until you get on the medicine, you're not going to know how bad those are, or if they're worth dealing with to tackle the other problem. Sometimes it's trial and error, sometimes it's textbook. But medication is definitely helping me. I don't want this to be something where I'm like, you need to get medication whether you like it or not. This is all about how you want to approach things. I approached this the way I decided to approach it, and it's helped me. Medication was part of that, but obviously it's not for everybody. And I've known people who've been on medication for decades who feel like it doesn't help them. But you know what? They're still trying. And in a way, that's a positive. And I hate to say that because I've seen these people and I know how awful they feel half the time. And to say that, well, you're trying at least, that's not much comfort for them. But it shows that they have a fight of some sort, even if it's a more passive kind of fight. And medication isn't always going to work. But to just let it fall by the wayside and to just sort of accept that, this thing is attacking you and that there's not much you can do about it, so why try? That's giving in. And, I'm not saying medication is the solution at all. I'm saying that if you've not tried something, and if a doctor recommends something, and sometimes they don't know what they're talking about. I'm not going to mince words with you. Sometimes I feel like the doctors don't even listen to me. But it's worth trying something than just doing nothing. I don't know if that makes sense. There are times when I rely on my medication too much. I'm not saying that I take more than my usual dose. I'm just saying that, for example, when I'm having a panic attack, in my mind, I feel like just rushing off and getting some of my pills and downing those and waiting for it to calm down. I feel like I should be able to do that without those pills. But just because I can't do that without them doesn't mean that something's wrong with me. The fact that I'm having a panic attack is the problem, not the fact that I have to use pills. It's a complicated issue. And I'm a pretty stupid person, I won't lie. I can't tell you the ins and outs of the medication. I can't tell you the ins and outs of the medicine trade or anything like that, and I can't really specifically point to something and be like, this will help you. Even a doctor can't do that sometimes, but, I know that my medicine has helped me, and I know that if I didn't take it, things would be a lot worse than if I did. So if you're afraid of just trying medication, it might be worth opening up a little bit. But if it obviously feels bad or feels wrong, or if it doesn't gel well with your system, and if it makes things worse, definitely pull back. Definitely hold off. But talk to your doctor about it. Talk to somebody about it. Talk about it. Because without talking, we can't locate the problem and fix it and switch it for something else, or move on and try a completely different approach. But without talking, without doing, there is no winning. And we all want you to win. We all want to win, and I want you to win. So, people are rooting for you. And, sometimes you have to take medicine. It's a thing, cough syrup when you've got a cough. Unfortunately, depression is just one of those weird areas that isn't easy to pinpoint and nail down the solution. And who knows if there'll ever be a total solution. Certainly not with medication. But we'll get there. And you'll get there. And don't forget that regardless of what goes wrong, if you're still breathing, if you're still living, I don't want you to give up. And if you're one of those people, and I've met a few of them that have been trying medication for a long time, and it's not doing anything, and you're at the end of your rope, all I can say is that I admire you for fighting in spite of that. That's incredible. And who knows, maybe the fact that you are still trying means that something's working. Your will is working, obviously. You have the will to get through this. And trust me, you will. I mean, if you can get to the end of your days and know that you never gave up, that's a victory. Don't give up. You just don't have to give up. Don't give up, because that's the depression getting what it wants, and you get literally nothing out of that, and everybody else loses a lot if you lose. We all lose. So please don't give up. Whether it's through medication or therapy or exercise, or I laugh, but that's helped people. Whatever it is that helps you, just don't lose track of that. And don't, if one thing doesn't work, that doesn't mean nothing else will work. My stomach's going crazy. I don't know if you can hear it, which is weird because I just had breakfast like an hour or two ago. But yeah, I really hope this one was helpful. Next week is the big 3-0, which, you know, I would say I'm excited about it. I am excited about it. I know it's been described as being a stupid vlog that I do because I have nothing else going on, but really it's something that helps me out a great deal emotionally, and it gets my mind off things. And and thank you for letting me do that, and thank you for listening to me do that. You know, there are people who love this series and there are people who hate this series, but I love that there are people who care, and I love that you're still here with me, and we're both still here. And that's more meaningful than you know. So take care of yourself out there, and may the force be with you. Take care. Bye.